Vice President. So with that, I would like to start the session. Please make sure that you keep your mics muted for the duration of the session. The session will be recorded, so if you do not want to be recorded, you can choose to switch off your camera and put your questions on the chat room. So my colleague Linkett will take it, and then he will handle the Q&A session. So Louise Haskins, she is the current president. As I said, she has more than 30 years of experience in this field. And I really, what I like, when I was reading, I was going through your bio, Louise, is that you have your presidential teams that are focusing on people, sustainability, and putting the heart into health and safety, which is very important to all of the professionals, in health and safety. And I believe this is one of the things that we all need to focus on. And we are eager, and looking forward to have this COVID, pandemic to be finalized, and then after that we resume back into our face-to-face meetings so that we can have more kind of interactions, with our members here in Qatar and so forth. So Louise, on behalf of more than 1,000 members that we have here in Qatar Branch, those people who are, I genuinely believe that they are taking that extra mile, to make a change into health and safety in this part of the world. They are doing a great job. They are the frontliners, and I believe that all of them, they have that kind of level of commitment, and they are striving, to make that change and to pass the message, from IOSH in Qatar. So with that, I would like to welcome you. And after the 10 minutes from Louise, we are going to have a presentation from Jamie Quinn, and I believe that all of you know Jamie, and then Lawrence will be presenting as well on the Catch the Wave for us. So with that, I would like to welcome. Please join me to welcome Louise. So please.
Thank you so much, and I'm absolutely delighted to be here. So thank you for inviting myself, Jimmy and Lawrence to speak with you today and present our Catch the Wave campaign. It's great to attend a meeting in this region, and I hope it will be the first of many during my presidency this year. So as you may know, I served for very many years as vice chair, then chair of my local Chiltern branch. So I know how hard the committee and your executive committee in particular will have worked to have made this event happen tonight. So thank you for everything that you're doing. Our branches are starting to open up back now, and members of the presidential team are starting to attend meetings, and I was at my first face-to-face meeting yesterday and have to say it was absolutely fantastic to be back meeting our members once again. So thank you to each of you for all that you do and that you continue to do. You truly are the heartbeat that makes IOSH and our profession so great. So just by sort of way of an introduction, my service within IOSH currently has very much a dual role. So I am chair of council, which is the representative body of our institution and part of the governance structure. And then the other part of my role is as president, and that's ambassadorial. So supported by a presidential team that consists of 6 vice presidents, myself as president, the president-elect who's here today, Lawrence, and immediate past president, who's Jimmy, who I know you all know so well. So as you've said, outside of IOSH, I have over 30 years of health and safety experience, and I've worked in a wide range of businesses of all sizes and lots of sectors. I'm also the director of a not-for-profit which champions women and inclusion in our profession. And I'm speaking to you today from a small city called St Albans, which is just outside London and where I live and work. So in my year as chair of council, I'm committed to making governance a key theme of my year, with good governance pathways, and by fully embracing all of the duties of council, I believe member voices will be effective in influencing IOSH and our wider profession worldwide. I'm working hard with council to achieve this, and council is made up of members elected by IOSH members, and they represent the views of our members in providing advice, guidance and representation to the board. So as chair of council, I'm very much focused on raising council's profile, its effectiveness and its influence. And as part of this work, I've created work streams which mirror the responsibilities of council to encourage teamwork and collaboration within smaller groups who have determined the strategic priorities we need to take and allow all voices to be heard. So council is quite big. There's currently 51 voting members in council, and my aim is to professionalise all that we do to be proactive and outward facing, as well as continuing that really important work that we do in assurance and holding the board to account. So myself and Lawrence as vice chair of council have a place on the board. So from council, we're able to speak on behalf of members at the highest level within the institution. And in this manner, all council members have a place at the table and should feel empowered. So I do urge you to be actively connected with council. We are running monthly Connect with Council virtual meetings, and the next one is on the 18th of March, so it'd be great to see you there. And really via these good governance pathways, council members can bring back relevant issues and matters to these working groups, which is just great. So in my role as president, which is ambassadorial, during my year, myself and the presidential team are concentrating on themes which focus on how members can support their organisations and add value to business by creating inclusive, healthy and psychologically safe workplaces, utilising modern leadership skills. So it's all about compassion, creativity, curiosity, kindness and courage, rather than command and control. And through this, we will create diverse teams who trust one another and feel empowered. And with trust comes great innovation, and people will put their best selves forwards, taking care of themselves and those that they work alongside. And by putting people first and by including everyone, we will raise up everyone to meet the very many challenges we're facing in the world right now. The work I'm undertaking within council is creating this environment here too, so we're certainly walking the talk. So the Catch the Wave campaign you're here to be part of today showcases the business benefits of being socially sustainable. And along with Lawrence, I was part of the team who pulled all of this together. And I know it's going to transform our professional narrative to demonstrate the value we add by helping us as health and safety professionals to fully articulate how we can help to create more engaging places to work and do business. And via this approach, we will create inclusive cultures ready to tackle the very many complex issues the world is currently facing. And let's face it, the only constant is change right now. So as many of you may know, I'm a keen advocate for equity, diversity and inclusion, with a particular focus on supporting women into leadership roles within our profession. I'm the 55th president of IOSH, but only the 7th woman, and I hope others will follow my example and put themselves forward where this is their ambition, because together we really are stronger. Next week is International Women's Day, and I hope you will join me in celebrating the women you work alongside, recognizing the challenges we face in reaching and being successful in leadership roles. Also in my year, I'm supporting our Future Leaders community by demystifying volunteer roles. So there's a clear pipeline into leadership for underrepresented groups in particular. Visible mentorship and sponsorship are a key theme of mine. They are further represented as a group in a new steering group that I've established in council to look at the future of our profession. I'm also excited to support our collaborations within the Commonwealth, the UN's International Labour Organization, and the International Social Security Association. And we're looking forward to the next IOSH strategy and also celebrating 20 years of our charter. So we're facing very many challenges right now, and by putting our people first and focusing on their psychological and physical health and safety, we will come together to address these very many challenges that we face. Now more than ever, we need global solutions for a common goal. In IOSH, we're nudging towards 49,000 members, all with a common goal. Great things are rarely achieved by one person. Engaged teams can achieve extraordinary things, but global teams really can change the world, and it just takes one conversation at a time to turn into a ripple to catch the wave. So thank you for giving this opportunity to me today to speak with you. Please do connect with myself on LinkedIn and the wider presidential team. I think that you all know Sunita Patel, so do contact her as well. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Lawrence and Jimmy, and I'm just going to do a brief intro for both of them. So first of all, for Lawrence, so I'm delighted to introduce you to Lawrence Webb, who is our President-elect and also Vice Chair of Council, and very importantly, my current wingman. So Lawrence has 30 years experience in health and safety, having worked in a wide variety of roles in operations. He's been a lecturer, training, and he has also established a successful consultancy. So like myself, he absolutely understands the challenges of running a small business. Lawrence is currently the Safety, Health and Environment Strategy Director for the Costain Group, with a diary that rivals mine. So it's great to have you here today. Lawrence has been a great support to me personally as we work to enhance the effectiveness of council and create high performing teams here. He is keen to develop some of my themes, which I'm sure he will explain further into his year as president, to create a really dynamic flow. And having spent so much time with Lawrence since November, I can also say he's rarely late for a meeting, has a very wide repertoire of jokes, and his hamster called Trigger is never usually far away, but has recently escaped. So we're all on hamster watch currently. So that's Lawrence. So Jimmy Quinn, I'm pleased to introduce you to Jimmy, who's our current immediate past president. I know Jimmy is a great friend of this region, so does not need a long introduction from me. As you know, Jimmy served his country during a successful 24-year career in the British Army, attaining the rank of warrant officer, leaving in 2011. Since 2011, he has fully embraced health and safety as a second career. Having begun in training, he spent time in the Middle East and is now a senior health and safety manager with Multiplex, currently working on iconic projects in London. I closely and fully supported Jimmy in his year as president and watched him address a good proportion of our almost 49,000 members with a common mantra of members, members, members. He also supported our Future Leaders community and was successful in making the presidential team more accessible. His work with the veterans community is exemplary and continues to be a focus of his IPP year. Jimmy has time for everyone, and something you may not know about him is he is a very keen amateur chef and a total foodie. But in the process of creating something truly spectacular, he always values someone in the background cleaning up after him as he goes. So without further ado, I'm delighted to welcome Lawrence and Jimmy, and over to you guys.
That's great. Thanks, thanks, Louise. Yeah, I'm sorry to have to share the news about my poor hamster. I'm sure he'll come back when he gets hungry enough. So yeah, it's my pleasure to share with you the first half of our Catch the Wave campaign slide deck. And now some of you may already have seen this. You may have seen it at the Networks conference recently, or perhaps you've attended one of our webinars. But between myself and Jimmy, we've got about 15-20 minutes to talk you through. And I think by the end of this, you'll actually see just how important this particular initiative is for all of us on the call today. Now, I think it's fair to say that the world is changing. That the last 2 years have just been something completely unexpected to so many of us. But in particular, the world of work itself has thoroughly changed as well. And I think as a result, I would put myself in this camp, and I'm sure that many of you would as well, that it's made us all take stock of our lives and look at our work-life balance and the way that we value our employment, and the way that we look at our finances, the environment around us, and the way that as friends and families we've had to come together to bring ourselves through this pandemic, which is obviously continuing in certain parts of the world. What's become clear is that we need a new approach to work to actually maximise on the few positives that have come out of this pandemic and the trust that's been built between organisations and employees. But this isn't just something which is focused on us here today. This is a global challenge that we all need to embrace. And I think occupational safety and health has proved its worth most recently in the last 18 months, because we really have been the catalyst for change and the supporting mechanism that so many organisations have relied on to do the right thing. But at the focus of all of this is people and the need for us all to be working in a world that's sustainable going forward. And that's where Catch the Wave comes in. Now, interestingly, we identified back in 2018 the fact that do you know what, the occupational safety and health profession was not really viewed by as many employers around the world as we would have liked as being the cornerstone of performance. In fact, only 31% of them actually saw us in that light, and yet we were all basically arguing from our perspective through the report, The Healthy Profit, that actually it's the other way around, that the majority of organisations should be looking to us as the driver for better productivity, better profitability, enhanced cultures, better outputs. So this is nothing new to us. We've always known that our profession should be front and center, and clearly key to making that work is having a focus on people. So organizations are absolutely in the best place to be at their best. Now, things were already starting to change, although the Healthy Profit, our report from 2018, is relatively new. Back in 2000, the world was already starting to change on a global basis, realizing that we really needed some solid foundations to be sustainable and to be able to support ourselves going forward. And this is where the Millennium Development Goals came from. 8 key areas that governments, countries and organizations could focus on with regards to sustainability. But actually, in more recent times, in 2015, the UN developed the Sustainable Development Goals, which you can see in front of you there, 17 target areas to be focused on. But sitting behind this is actually 165 target areas for everybody to be able to focus on. And 195 countries around the world have reviewed this and ratified it as being a really solid and sensible way forward. But a point that most people might not realise is that within these 17 areas and these 165 target focus areas, if you like, about a quarter of them are all directly or indirectly associated with occupational safety and health. Now, both of these sets of objectives, if you like, are focused on human rights and the environment, which is clearly, really important and has always been seen as being a driver for sustainability. But you can also see in there, as part of anti-corruption, labour. Now, labour and human rights, again, this is very much about people and needing to take people on a journey to improve and be sustainable for all of our futures. And we're now in a place where governments and organisations are actually seeing themselves as that force for good that we've always said should exist. And corporate social responsibility is starting to take a much more forward look and a central place in the way that organisations and governments are driving things forward. And once again, what you can see are those messages surrounding ethics and the way that organisations and governments actually operate themselves from an ethical perspective. What about the financial stabilities and the way that we invest around the world? And clearly we need to keep an eye on the environmental perspective, which, as I've already said, is really so important to us. But once again, look at the societal aspect coming in here. It's all about people, and people, at work are absolutely a force for good. And just to up the stakes even more, you can see there on the right-hand side, the United Nations Global Compact, which is the world's largest corporate responsibility initiative that's now been taken up by 15,500 organisations across 165 countries who are supporting this drive to make sure that employers are this force for good and that we are acting in a socially responsible way from a corporate perspective. And there's also more than 4,000 organisations who are not employers like IOSH who are actually driving this change as well. So this change is definitely happening, and IOSH absolutely want to be at the forefront of it. But just coming back to COVID again for a second, COVID has changed the way that as workers, we have expectations on our employers and the way that they've had to treat us to actually support them to get through this ongoing pandemic. We've had to be more flexible and adaptable and certainly more agile. Some people have been working dynamically in multiple different locations and different ways just to make sure that their employers actually get the outputs that are required. And there's a lot of trust and a lot of change that's come to have to develop trust between employers and employees to make this work. And there's now arguments out there to say, well, look, it's time for employers to actually return that trust that have been shown by employees, which is another reason that the Catch the Wave campaign is just so focused on making sure that that trust actually becomes something that employers can hook into and therefore become more sustainable going forward. But we're all consumers as well. So moving away from work just for a second, we've also sat down and started to change the way that as consumers we act and we purchase. And there's organisations that perhaps we're less interested in now because we're aware of the fact that their social credentials and their sustainable credentials are not where we would see them personally. There are organisations who found that they've gone from being at the top of the tree in terms of important to consumers to somewhere towards the bottom of the tree. There are certain products that we aren't investing in anymore when we go out and buy. So there's actually a consumer demand that's also driving change. And when you add all of this lot together, what you start to find is the fact that investors around the world have now seen that there's a different way to do business, and investors are very focused on people as well. How are organisations and governments treating their people and the people that are in their care on a day-to-day basis? And there's lots of reports that are coming out that are actually now starting to say, do you know what? if you don't look after your people, there's every chance that we won't support you and we won't invest in your growth, because people are absolutely at the heart of your futures. So not just today, but everything that's coming towards you in your future. In other words, a key element of your sustainability. And also, of course, what do we do as a profession? Well, we're out there to try and maintain and improve wherever we can a safe and healthy global world of work. So it makes sense that our profession, and therefore IOSH, are absolutely at the centre of this drive for change. So that's the background in terms of where Catch the Wave has actually come from. It is exactly as it says on the screen. It's a vision for action. It's a plan for employers to be able to look to the future and then maximise on the opportunities that come with putting ourselves as an OSH profession, and also people at the very, very heart of the way that they operate. So before I hand over to Jimmy, I just want to show a short video that basically explains that and summarises, and then Jimmy can tell us all about what it is that IOSH brings to the table in making this a reality.
There's an unstoppable wave of change moving across the global business landscape, cascading through boardrooms, sending ripples through supply chains and beyond. It's time to catch the wave. The COVID-19 pandemic, climate crisis, and rise of social justice movements around the world have all accelerated thinking beyond the here and now. What does it mean to be a responsible, sustainable, resilient business built on solid environmental, social, and governance principles? It all starts with people. It's no coincidence that those businesses setting high standards for the treatment of their workforces, communities, and supply chains reap rewards with stronger performance and growth. Our connected world expects organisations to prioritise public good and behave responsibly. Employees and customers will call out poor working conditions and demand better. But this is not just about doing the right thing. Social sustainability is the backbone of corporate resilience. It supports stronger operational performance and cash flow. And right now, that feels more critical than ever. The environment has been the flagship cause driving the corporate sustainability agenda. Now it's time to put people alongside planet and profit, to unlock and unleash the tremendous value that lies in our global workforce. IOSH is working alongside international organisations, including UN agencies and initiatives, such as the World Health Organization, ILO, and UN Global Compact, to harness the collective energy of progressive businesses. Together, we're making a long-term commitment to drive social sustainability forward, with a global force of safety and health professionals making change happen on the ground. Because safer environments and enlightened attitudes to health and well-being, diversity and inclusion are all safety and health issues too. And COVID-19 has shown just how vital it is to protect people. If businesses are not just to survive, but thrive. Together, we can be part of a global network of resilient, profitable businesses and organisations that flourish, equitably and sustainably, around safe, healthy workforces. It's time for a new world of work. It's time to catch the wave with IOSH.
Over to you, Jimmy.
Thanks very much, Lawrence, and wonderful part to the session there. And thank you very much, Louise, for that wonderful introduction to both myself and Lawrence. As Lawrence has sort of intimated there, and from my perspective, and I'll ad lib a little bit here as I go through the slides, everyone, is that I don't believe there's many organisations not actually catching the wave now in some way, shape or form. And I think we've been doing it for a while. I think we've been mature enough to understand that through the pandemic that we really need to look after our people. And I think this blueprint kind of thing from IOSH helps us understand it more. But I believe that every one of us understands catch the wave in their own way. And, you know, looking at that first slide, Lawrence, you know, and everyone, the role of IOSH as an enabler, you know, we as leaders and employers recognise these contributions that their workforces have made, and they've reached out to IOSH professionals. Whatever better time has there ever been to be a IOSH professional, especially a IOSH professional in IOSH? What organisation would not want an IOSH professional as part of their organisation, and why? Well, because at this critical moment, IOSH professionals have been adapting and evolving to prevent the risk and enable business continuity and operational effectiveness. They're making vital connections between boards, operational managers, and the wider workforce. And for me, this slide says it all. We are at the centre of everything. And this is where you should be. We are able to spread the word everywhere we want to. We can get the word to the board, and that's through these branch meetings. That's through your RMs. That message gets through to the operational side. And as members, you reach out and we get messages and we get information through to Louise, and these steering groups that Louise has set up and launches is assisting in terms of their year and the year coming, are going to be in such a great place in a year's time where the message will be able to work that much better. So from you as an IOSH professional, this is where you get involved. This is an absolute must for you as an enabler. You can challenge, encourage, and spur on so many different areas and different levels to make a difference. Your mission, and this is a great one, should you choose to accept it from my colleague Angela, is to do and accept this mission, to be that enabler, to be that IOSH professional that looks after their people, to challenge the board, to encourage managers to actively take their part. We all know a manager that probably isn't as active as they should be, but we need to try and help them and assist. And there is the word again, enable. It's up to you to ask the workers how they are, mentally as well as physically. We don't have to ask them, how are you? But we can engage in conversations. We can talk to them as we talk to one of our friends if we are out and about for a walk or visiting family and friends. And then you can get that feedback back in so many different ways. And that is your role in this slide as an enabler. You're everywhere. You should be everywhere. And as I was members, you'll hear Louise talk a lot about people, people, people. I wonder what three of the same words that Lawrence is going to bring up in his year. Next slide, please, Lawrence. This slide here is an extraordinary slide for me. And it talks a lot about how IOSH drives social sustainability. And it's worth you looking at this slide and really understanding where you sit. Because it's a really, for me, it's a real thought-provoking slide. And it's where I looked at to find out, where do I sit as an IOSH professional sitting here in this book, understand where I sit to have the best impact. For me, it is, and it always has been, about worker health and safety. So take a look at where that box sits. And from this radiates well-being through the family and beyond. And we must look after the whole person. That is essential. If you're carrying out your full role, you as an IOSH professional can influence either directly or indirectly of all the stages in this chart, from morale to productivity to reputation to organisational costs. So you are a true enabler of social sustainability. You are the core of Catch the Wave. Without you, it doesn't happen. We need you to drive this and to be that IOSH professional that carries this message across through your whole organisations and to look after your people. Next one, please, Lawrence. So, what are the tools for change? Well, you can see there yourself. You know, the tools that we need to achieve this, and the Catch the Wave campaign delivers this with a 6-month programme of insightful research papers, webinars, free downloads, materials, and a suite of social sustainability training courses for leaders, managers, and workers. So take a look at our CTW website and download all of these tools when you're talking to your own directors or your clients. Download all these tools to listen, to read, to form your own opinions, to create your own stamp. Because remember, as IOSH professionals, we are already doing this. We know we're doing this. This is second nature to us now. We learned an awful lot about each other and about ourselves on this Catch the Wave, before Catch the Wave it raised itself. We were already out there doing this, and we were learning to put all this together to help us as we move forward. And looking at this and reading this and listening to me, listening to Louise, listening to Lawrence, and making your own mind up and looking at these resources yourself will help and assist you make even more of an impact in what it is you're doing today. So this here is just another string to your bow, another set of tools to do and assist with some of the great work that you're already doing. Thanks, Lawrence. So there's the timeline. And this is where all these activities sit. They're all listed, and we do not finish in June 2022. No, we don't. We continue to move forwards. We continue to develop. Because the IOSH profession is just at the beginning here. Indeed, some are already starting to realise their own visions for action, inspired by the Catch the Wave campaign. I know I have, and I know a lot of my colleagues have. In the mornings now, I will take 40 minutes out of my day. To do what, Jimmy Quinn? To go for a swim. There's a swimming pool 5 minutes away from my site. That's 40 minutes of my time where I'd normally go for a walk. I take 40 minutes out of my day every day now to sit back and read a book. Not at my desk, but read a book somewhere else outside, or somewhere a bit more quieter, or go for a coffee outside of work. Work is not everything. But that's just my little part that I'm doing to hopefully look after myself, but also to other people can see. And people are already saying to me, where is it you go, Jimmy? What is it you do? What is this that you're doing? And it's about people. As Louise said, people, 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 members, members, members. The same thing, we're just putting it into a different context. Read it, understand it, and get your own personality involved in the Catch the Wave. Thanks, Lawrence. So here we are, a vision for action. You're already doing this, remember, and we're just putting it down there and letting you see what everyone else is doing. So we invite you to tell us about your work, about your story, and what makes working lives better and more sustainable, and how Catch the Wave will help you to change the future for those around you. Remember, it's not just about me going for a swim for 40 minutes. It's about those people asking me if I'm going for a swim and hopefully taking something from my day. I have a well-being hour every day in my diary. If a meeting comes in that has to go into that well-being hour, it's a no. And that's quite simple. And everyone that works with me knows that I have that 1 hour for myself every day. Sheena has told us about the Catch the Wave campaign means to her. So read the paragraph to yourself. If you do nothing else in this presentation today, take that quote away, take that message away from Sheena, because Sheena has taken up the challenge, and Sheena has made it her objective to make it yours. Next one, please, Lawrence. So this is a fantastic quote. Catch the Wave can be presented very simply in a single sentence. Read it out loud, and I'm going to read it for you. Catch the Wave post-COVID is a call to action for all organisations of every size to recognise your role in harnessing the power of your people by reaching out to the occupational safety and health IOSH professionals who operate at the heart of every community, and we do. So hopefully I've taken up the action, Lawrence has taken up the action, and your president, Louise, has taken up the action. And I guarantee lots of you, all of you in this branch meeting have. I guarantee that your chair, vice chair and executive committee have. So let's join together and ensure that we're out there accessing every single level that we can. Next, please, Lawrence. So it's a call to action, and here are just a few ways you can get on board and catch the wave. So take up that challenge of social sustainability and catch that wave with IOSH. Next one, Lawrence. Thank you so much. Wonderful to see you all. And I think Lawrence and I will be ready for some questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Venkat. Please.
Hey, thank you very much, Jimmy, Lawrence, and Louis. What a lineup. Jimmy, you are correct. Probably we are the first branch to host all three presidential team. Immediate past president and current president and president-elect. What a lineup. Thank you very much for your time and being here with the Qatar branch members and to share your knowledge, especially on the campaign of Catch the Wave, which is very, very essential and is a need of the hour. And we recognize the efforts of the IOSH in taking up this campaign and reaching out. And I request members, if you have any questions, please just send it to me in the chat room. There are a few questions, Jimmy. How as a member, what we can do right now, how we can be part of the Catch the Wave?
Well, what am I doing is the only way that I could get that passed, and Lawrence will have an opinion on this as well, and perhaps Louise will come back. But for me, it's about doing what we've always done. You know, it's about doing what we've learned in the last year. You know, when we finished, my site closed down on the 30th of March, 2020, and I was back in 3 days later, trying to work out how we were going to get everyone back. And my learning curve was just extreme. But we always talked about mental health. We also always talked about people. We always talked about the health and safety and the IOSH professional. But I don't think anybody really respected or understood. Well, I take that back. A lot of people do respect and understand what the IOSH professional does. But I think and believe now that that perception has totally changed. So for me, it's about looking after the person. As Louise said, people, people, people. I was members. And it's still the same message. We are making sure that we are there for everyone. And, you know, I've got a great saying, and Louise has got it as well, is it always start from a position of yes. People are worried about how they're going to get stuff done. And they've got enough to worry about without having you as an IOSH professional not being that approachable person. You've got to be at the centre of everything, in my view, Ahmed. You've got to be aware of everything. You've got to be ahead of everything. And you've got to make sure you're there for everyone. Lawrence?
Okay.
Yeah, and wise words, Jimmy. I mean, from another perspective, perhaps to look at this from, and I'm absolutely on the same page. I've spent 20 plus years when I'd formulated in my own mind where I sat as a professional. I've spent 20 years telling everybody I'm an enabler, not a disenabler. And now for me, looking at Catch the Wave and looking at the changes that have come from COVID, I can honestly say I'm fortunate to work for an organisation who's always put our discipline in the centre of everything because they appreciate the value we add. So for me now, it's about having conversations with others. So with the clients that we work with and our supply chain and people who perhaps haven't had the same experiences that I've had with my company, and I've worked for some who, I won't say who, but I've worked for some who do not see this as being value at all. They see it as being an absolute disenabling perspective, which is completely wrong. So I take it upon myself to have the discussions, to show the benefit and actually make it real time. So use case studies where I can actually say to people, look, you may think this, but actually the reality is that, and keep putting us in a situation where they're at the forefront, you know, our discipline's at the forefront of other people's minds, but they've actually got ideas as to where the benefits come from, but also what they look like. Because if it can be made real and tangible for people, all of a sudden you can see the light bulb moments where people realize that as a discipline, we're so well connected. And you tell me of another discipline that deals with so many different areas at once. I mean, we deal with physics, chemistry, geography, maths, law, psychology, sociology, geography, you name it. We're involved in everything. So we've absolutely got the opportunity to influence. And as Jimmy says, that's exactly what we should be doing.
Thank you, Jimmy and Lawrence, that we are everywhere. We are at the center of everything. Yeah, thank you. Louise, you'd like to add anything on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited by this whole campaign. And, you know, this isn't, lots of people are saying, well, do you know what? Is this something else for me to do as a health and safety professional? But I think we need to look at this as a different way to articulate what we do. And, you know, I've been doing this for a long time. And if I think about what drives me, is somebody actually said I'm a transformational leader. So I like to see things move forward and evolve and transform. And this is what this is all about. It's how we articulate that and we look forward and we're proactive. So we stop, you know, I'm not saying assurance isn't important and we need all of that as well. But actually, this is about looking at what good looks like and working alongside our business colleagues. And if we start looking at things through a health and safety lens, other things start to fall into place. And that's always has driven me, actually, is, you know, if we're looking at training in a health and safety, it kind of says, well, actually, we need to support and encourage people in this particular way from a health and safety perspective, but actually they need some other skills as well. So all of a sudden you're looking at things through a health and safety lens, but you're kind of looking at the whole business and looking at, you know, what your teams need. And if we put our people forward, if we create psychological trust, they're going to come together and solve all of those complex problems that we really are facing right now. And yeah, I mean, this is, you know, fundamental to what we do. It's going to change the way that we're perceived as a profession, I think.
Thank you, Louise, for that insight. And we do have a few questions from members. Mr. Mirza has a question: how the sustainability and the environmental concern fall in line with the WASH? Basically, the sustainability it's not about only environment. It's about, you already said in the presentation, it's about people, planet, and the profit, social, economical, and sustainability. Yeah, would like to add on that.
Great answer, Ahmed. No, leave that one to you. That was a great answer.
Yeah, I mean, just to sort of talk about it, you know, what we're basically saying in this campaign is, and again, if I think about working with business colleagues, and certainly in my own, you know, business roles, we talk about sustainability in business quite a lot. And when we talk about sustainability in business, we don't just think of natural capital, we don't just think of the environment. And so it's the same kind of narrative, is that broader concept of being sustainable. And to be sustainable, a business has to have all of those elements in balance. So, you know, if we purely focus on money and profit, our people suffer, and overall the planet and everything else is going to suffer. If we focus on the planet, we have finite resources, so we fall out of balance again. And it's if you pull on one thing in one place, it's going to pull on something somewhere else, and we stop being sustainable. And where we are in the world at the moment, we're consuming stocks of natural capital faster than we're able to create them. So if we focus on our people and what our people need, they're going to bring us back into balance, and we're going to create that sustainability. So it's viewing sustainability through that much broader lens.
Yeah. Can I add to that, Louise, that at the end of the day, if you think about the fact that people are at the heart of every organization, without people, the chances are you don't have an organization. So whatever we can do to make sure that people are in a place where they can absolutely be at their best, then that's got to be a good thing for the organization. And clearly that's, you know, that's important for us as professionals. But as Louise just said, there's all these other things that affect our sense of well-being. and those other aspects that are in the UN Sustainable Development Goals will affect us all differently at different times for different reasons. But we've got a massive part to play in making sure that, remember what I said, 1/4 of the UN Sustainable Development Goals are associated with IOSH. So what an opportunity. Yeah, what an opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you, Louis and Lawrence, for that insight. There are a few questions besides the Catch the Wave campaign. Since the presidential team is here, members would like to ask some more questions about their career and all. They just wanted to ask one of our members, if you could leave us with one piece of advice to prepare us for our prospective careers in health and safety, what would it be? You're all successful health and safety professionals.
I would say stay humble. Nobody knows everything. Always stay open to the possibility that every day is a school day. Be willing to learn something new. We are all professionals. We've all got huge amounts of experience. We spend a lot of time helping, supporting, teaching, mentoring other people, but always be open to the fact that there will be a time when you need to be open in the same way. And I've always found that being like that and not being the sort of person that closes themselves down to people coming up with different ideas, different suggestions, healthy challenges, that's always left me in a really strong position. And I think myself and the teams that I've worked with in the past have always been better for that. So there's one thing maybe that people may or may not.
I tend to agree with that as well, Lawrence, and I think everybody knows my opinion on this, Ahmed. You've got to be yourself. You've got to take your personality as well, whatever that is, and you've got to be true to yourself. You've got to be, and I love that word, humble. You've got to be humble, and you've got to start from that position of yes, and then work out how to get there. That's one of my favourite terms. I don't know if it was Louise or one of our other presidents, Karen McDaniel, that, but that's a great place. And I always start from a position of yes, but you've got to be an enabler. I know it sounds a bit cheesy, but you have to be an enabler. You have to be that person that people go to. So be yourself, forget the words health and safety for a while, be respectful, be honest, and make sure that those people that know you, they are coming to you because they want to come to you. And again, be there for them. And if you can do that, then it's an easy ride.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, Louise.
What I would say is, and this campaign and the stuff that I'm talking about this year is at the heart of this, is that I think we need to move away from feeling like as health and safety professionals we have to have all of the answers. So and I can be just as guilty of this, after 30 years I've seen some things, but actually we need to stop being the so-called hub of all of the answers, and we need to facilitate others and empower others, and so actually it's not about the technical stuff is important, and I'm not saying it isn't, but actually we need to utilize our soft skills, which I don't think are soft, I call them power skills. And actually, it's not about the quick wins, and those quick wins can make us personally feel good, but actually we need to look ahead and we need to be much more strategic in our approach. And anybody can do that at any stage of their career.
Ahmed, can I just come in there and just off that point from Louise?
Yep, please, Jimmy. Yeah.
Just reminded me of something. One of the things I always thank my army career for was that ability to have all those people-facing skills. I think if I was going to say it into an IOSH professional now, just talking about what Lawrence and Louise are saying there, is that have more strings to your bow. Don't just do health and safety. Don't look at health and safety courses. Look at coaching courses. Look at, management courses. Look at leadership courses. Look at the bigger picture. We've got a duty to create those operational teams that, as Louise said, is not just about us, that Quinn can go out there and be operational and can look after the same things you are, but you can be a font of knowledge and a giver and a receiver. So management, leadership, coaching, all that good stuff as well. We tend to do too many health and safety courses, Chair.
Thank you. That was a wonderful point, Jimmy. With the campaign of Catch the Wave, Mr. Mirza has asked another question. I also, which is also aligned with my thoughts. Is it not the right time? IOSH values or vision has to change in line with the sustainability instead of just sticking on only to the occupational health and safety. Louise?
So are you saying, are we, something is what we, I think we need to learn to be flexible, because IOSH, the profession, actually doesn't dictate our priorities and where we need to be looking and what we need to be doing. That really comes from business and the environment that we're in at any one time. Across my career, things have waxed and waned, and if I think back 25 years ago, we were talking about mental health and psychological health and safety, and it kind of then fell into the background. Now psychological health and safety is absolutely key and the foundation, as far as I'm concerned, in every for every business to thrive in the environment that we're in now. So we need to learn as a profession to be flexible and to see that coming. This is what I love about Catch the Wave, because I've got so many analogies. We need to catch that wave and ride that wave, and not be afraid to flex and wane as those priorities change in the background. And right now, coming out of pandemic, part of my theme, people, sustainability, putting heart into health and safety, it's about caring about how people feel, and moving away from process and doing the touchy-feely stuff, and really focusing on people first.
Okay, thank you, Louise. Also, a question from one of our members, since we spoke about sustainability environment. Does IOSH will consider the environmental diploma qualification for grad IOSH?
What was that question again, Ahmed?
The diploma.
No, does IOSH will consider the environmental diploma qualification for grad IOSH?
That goes into the operational sphere. Catherine will be sitting there behind her going, no, Jimmy, Louise,
yeah, I don't think that is one that's recognised.
Stay away.
Yeah, it's the thing to do with that is if anybody's got any queries on any of that, I'm sure Catherine will put into the chat box the email to send across to the membership team. And any of those kind of queries, there's a whole host of people in the background that are just waiting to take your call. So just drop them a line and I'm sure that somebody will pick it up. Yes, that's the one, Catherine.
Yeah.
So it's
you were very naughty there, Ahmed. Very naughty, sir.
So members can note down the email ID, which is shared by the Catherine in the chat room. Any kind of questions related to that kind of membership upgrade, you can send an email there. You will get a clarification over there. And also a question from Mirza regarding the positions in the branch, if you like to be a chair or vice chair. It's a very transparent system in the IOSH. Every 2 years we select, currently IOSH Qatar Branch executive members are elected for 2 years.
Yes.
And once the 2 years term is over, there will be an email communication to all the members when the term is over. You can nominate yourself and you can stand in the election and you can be the chair. And it is very transparent. You can grow up in the ladder, like, you can be part of the council, you can be a part of the presidential team. It's all up to you. If you are interested,
Absolutely.
you can grow. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a massive advocate for this. So, I started off as a vice chair of my local branch. I turned up and kept turning up and thinking, oh, not sure about this. And you know what? At some point it's time you need to roll up your sleeves and help and support for your branch to be that local hub that you want it to be. So I began as a vice chair of branch, became a chair, then became a vice president, onto the presidential team, and kind of the rest is history. But I strongly believe that if you can influence a group of health and safety volunteers as diverse as our committees are, and actually enable a branch to thrive, that's a fantastic foundation. And just, you know, get involved, support each other, particularly at this time, and be that change that you want to see.
Okay, thank you, Louis, for that additional information.
Virkat, you haven't done too badly either, have you, as vice chair? You've done well.
It's been a great journey
Ahmed's
for me.
done well.
I've been part of the IOSH Qatar branch for the last 6 years.
Yes, you have.
Yeah. And I've served as a secretary. I've been as a communication coordinator, executive committee member, and I've stepped into as a vice chair.
Good
Every
man.
time it's a great learning process, and it gives me immense pleasure to help our fellow HSC professionals, I would say. This term alone, it was a great satisfaction for me. Around 11 to 12 members been moved from grad IOSH to CM IOSH in the last 16 months. I was doing my little part in helping them. It gives me great sense of satisfaction.
It just takes one conversation at a time, and you start off a ripple, and before you know it, you're catching the wave.
Yeah. Thank you. And I don't see any other questions from any of our members. I take this as a great opportunity to thank this presidential team for your valuable time and being here in our IOSH Qatar branch. And we will remember this particular meeting quite long. We will have more similar meetings, and we have taken a kind of understanding with our executive team. Every branch meeting, we will have one of the presidential team here to address at least our members, so that some kind of engagement will be from the presidential team with our branch members. We are eagerly looking for such a collaboration with the presidential team. Ahmed, would you like to add anything?
No, that's it. Thank you very much, Venkat. Thank you very much, Louise, Lawrence, and Jimmy. We are very privileged to have you all this evening with us, and I really enjoyed, this session. And we would like to remind all our members that we cannot isolate ourselves as OSH professionals from the people, from the profit, from the environmental issues. And I would like to remind them that, as Luis mentioned, the EDI is very important, the equity, diversity, and inclusion. So we need to push it forward. We need to catch the wave. And thank you very much. I'm looking forward to have you again in one of the sessions. Venkat, do you have anything?
Yeah. Since our presidential team here, I would like to have a group picture. May I request all the members, more than 100 members who have participated in this meeting, we want to have a group picture. Please switch on your camera.
Cameras.
Yeah. Keep smiling.
Thank you all, and have a very good evening.
Thank you all to all the participants. You've been amazing and wonderful participation. Thank you very much for your time and attendance. Thank you very much. Thank you, Catherine, for your wonderful support.
Great to see you all. See you again soon.
See you all.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.